Hi everyone, I'm Emily Wishall of Wishall Wellness. I'm a certified rolfer and embodiment coach, and today I wanted to share a little bit about the fascia. So the fascia in rolfing structural integration is the main system, along with the nervous system, but is the main system that we're working with. And so let's talk about what is the fascia. So I think of our fascia as our soft tissue skeleton. For years, traditionally, historically, in anatomy classes, it's been called fascia connective tissue. I know in my own undergraduate career that was what I learned it was until my eyes were opened up to more. So it is so much more than connective tissue, and more recent research is actually showing it to be potentially our largest sensory organ. So when I say that I think of it as our soft tissue skeleton, what am I meaning by that? So if you think of your body, if you were to get rid of the blood, the skin, the muscles, nerves, bones, all of it, and literally just had your fascia left, you would have a structure, kind of like this spider web like structure, this collagen matrix, that would still really very much look like you, but it would just be like this web. And so our fascia with that has both fibrous and elastic properties. And we need both. Why do we need that fibrous, that collagen matrix? That's what's actually giving our body the structural integrity. That's what's holding our organs in place. It's actually what's giving muscles their shape. So if you go down to a single teeny tiny muscle fiber, that muscle fiber is surrounded in fascia. And then several muscle fibers are put together, and those are wrapped in more fascia in what is called the muscle fascicle. And then you take several muscle fascicles, those are again wrapped in more fascia. That is what creates the muscle belly. So if it were not for the fascia, the muscles would not have their shape. So that's that inner muscular fascia. There's also intramuscular fascia. So in between muscle groups, we also have fascia. And what happens through life, repetitive movement patterns, aging, stress, accidents, injuries, all of it, we start to have muscle groups moving as one unit, as opposed to being able to move and differentiate independently. So that fascia in between the groups has become overly fibrous, and it's lost some of its elasticity. So it's lost some of that ability to differentiate. Because remember earlier I mentioned the fascia has both fibrous and elastic properties. So the elastic properties is more of that, actually it's like 70 to 80% of the fascia is what's called interstitial fluid, which is primarily made of water. So that's what allows us to move with ease and glide and be flexible. And so we need the appropriate balance of both throughout our whole body. And so what we're working with in Rolfing is to, through the manual work, helping to break up some of that fascia and to rehydrate the tissue from a very specific, so it's not just like, ooh, let's relax this muscle, let's relax that muscle. It's more thinking of, we always do as rolfers, we do a structural assessment before and after the session. So in my own office, I watch a client move, I have them walk, do a few movements, then get on the table. We do the same thing at the end. That structural assessment allows me to see overall relationships in the body. It allows me to see what's working well together, and allows me also to see maybe places where there's opportunity for more movement, and perhaps where muscle groups are moving kind of as one unit, and maybe where we could create some differentiation, which is actually going to help the body move with greater alignment, which will allow for improved performance. So I take that, visual assessment with me on the table, but when I'm working on the table with clients, I'm thinking, most of my personal work is based off the feel. So I'm feeling those tensional lines within the fascia, and I'm following them and helping them release. So for example, though, if a client is asking me, well, what muscle are you working on? What are you working on here? Or at the end of the session, when I give my overall assessment of what I think is going on, I'm talking about specific muscle groups, because for us, the muscle groups, it's our mapping. It's our framework to understand what part of the body you're working on. but I'm not actually intellectually thinking that when I'm working. So I hope that makes sense, but I just wanted to share a little insight, one, how I'm working, but also just more on the fascia, what it is. So allowing that fibrous and elastic properties, we need both. Both are really essential. It's just that we get overly rigid and fibrous in certain areas. That's why I'm such a huge fan of myofascial self-release. Myo just simply means muscle, so it's just that muscular fascial release, which you can do with a foam roller, you can do with laying on a tennis ball. I'm such a fan of getting on the floor, laying on tennis balls, releasing at different areas in your back, bringing your breath into it. So that's a great way for you yourself to restore some of that elasticity to allow more hydration of tissue. It's really beneficial to work with a practitioner similar to myself because they can give you more specific information about what's going on in your own anatomy and your own structure and body, which can help influence that myofascial self-release that you're doing on your own, so you can get more specific and purposeful, meaning you might not do the same thing right and left. You might spend more time on one side than the other, so you're working with your own imbalances to help come back into better balance and into greater alignment. So thanks for tuning in on this little clip on fascia and the little bit I shared about rolfing. And if you want more information about your body, every week I share a short video blog on my blog at wishallwellness.com. So be sure to check that out if you're not already watching this on my blog, and take care.